is really taking my breath away, especially with the new gun. I'm not sure what it's called. It's like a windstorm. It's pretty much like the ray gun of World at War. And if I'm not, and correct me if I'm wrong, Invasion, the ray gun and the Wonder Waff are coming back to Black Ops.
Yes, yes, they are.
Yeah, so you guys can totally expect that. And I think we've overstayed our welcome on the zombies. I think we should go back to the perks because we still really haven't even talked about them too much. But anyways, I think Invasion, I think you should talk about what perks you'll be using as a rusher and what strategies you'll be using with each perk.
Okay, so me personally, in tier 1, there is lightweight, scavenger, ghost, flakjack, and hardline. And of course, since I'm a rusher, I would be using lightweight. And perk 2, there's really nothing for rushing. So for the best thing for me is faster reload, so therefore I think sleight of hand,
Well,
maybe hardened and steady aim.
yeah, I want to quickly interrupt you there. Coming from a rusher's point of view, I just might think that you could probably choose between sleight of hand, of course, for the faster reload and just like easier time, steady aim, which you might be able to use with like akimboed weapons, and then hardened pro, which or no, just kidding, that's a different perk.
If I
Uh,
was rushing, I would choose Sleight of Hand Pro
yeah,
because you've got the faster aiming. So, you're kind of in fast-paced action there. So you're going to need to have to aim fast as well as move fast.
yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, so but anyways, I'm sorry for interrupting you, Invasion. Continue.
Cool. And perk 3, tier 3, I would go marathon or ninja since I have Turtle Beaches and suggest many of you guys go get it because it is worth it. Like Pure has one. He suggested it to me. I went to go buy one and I thought it was worth it. But with
Those weren't the exact words he said, but those are the censored words he said. But it's, I mean, coming looking at a point of view of Invasion, perks like the tier 3 slot, it is like a huge dilemma because you're choosing between Marathon and Ninja. Ninja with Turtle Beaches is a must. But Marathon with Turtle Beaches without Ninja is like an ear sore.
you
It's like you hear your footsteps.
footsteps and you get annoyed from it.
Yeah. And I run sit rep from Modern Warfare 2 all the time because it makes my footsteps silent, even though it's not. But I mean, it increases the footsteps of the enemy team. And yeah, that's
But
kind of,
now, since the pro ability of Ninja is louder footsteps for enemies, so there is a big roadblock in my way that I need to choose from
yeah.
between Marathon and Ninja.
Yep.
But
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Uh, Bates, what perks do you think you'd be using as a person who would like to go for the objective?
For a person who would like to go for the objective, well, it really depends on the type of objective. But for perk number one, I think it would have to be a cross between Ghost and Scavenger because, well, with Scavenger, if you're an objective, it's gonna have a lot of heat, so there's gonna be a lot of enemies, which means you're gonna need a lot of ammo to drop them so that they don't kill you.
Yeah,
So that would be a really invaluable perk to have. But there's also Ghost, which means if your team isn't doing as good as you would like, and the other team has tons of perks already, and they're calling them in, then if you've got Ghost, then you won't be seen by
yeah.
those perks
Kill
as
streaks.
much. Oh no, yeah, okay, yeah. I haven't played in a long time. Cut me some slack. Okay, yeah, um, yeah. That's what I would choose for number one. Number two for objective. Once again, looking at the weapon side of it, the pressure side of it, I would have to go probably for either sleight of hand or scout because, well, not really scout, more scout pro because that means faster weapon switching. If you drop
Yeah,
0 ammo on one of your guns, you're going to want to switch to the other one because obviously there's still enemies around. But I suppose Sleight of hand would probably be better because, well, you've got faster reload instead of faster switching weapons. I don't know. I can't even remember how Black Ops is structured. Isn't the secondary a knife? I can't remember.
That's just your melee. Your secondary
Is
is usually, yeah,
your
it's pretty much
it's
a
like
pistol.
in Black Ops they have it as pistols, which I am pretty sure you will whip that out still pretty fast without
Right.
Yeah.
Scout Pro, like in
Well,
Modern Warfare 2,
Well,
taking
maybe
out.
switching back from secondary to primary is faster. You would probably notice that a lot.
Yeah, there.
yeah, I
That
think actually probably perk slot 2 would be sleight of hand then, because you've got, if you have the pro of that, then that's 2 pluses for objectives rather than 1 from scout.
Yeah.
You've got faster reload time, which will keep you fully loaded, locked and loaded under pressurized situations. You've got faster sight aiming, so you're going to be able to have an advantage over your enemies shot wise. Um, Number 3, pretty difficult. Maybe it's not actually. Maybe I haven't seen them all yet. Definitely not. Maybe I'll cancel them out first. Definitely not hacker. Possibly second chance. Um, Not ninja. Not marathon. Maybe tactical mask. The reason that for it being a cross between tactical mask and second chance would be tactical mask protects you against gas, nova gas, whatever that is, um, and reduces the effects of flashbangs and concussion grenades. Um, that's going to be a big problem in your objectives because obviously grenades flying everywhere. If you can manage to avoid the explosions, you're going to still have the problem of flashbangs and
Yeah.
concussion grenades and stuff like that. But you can also throw them and it will reveal their position. So you can just drop any enemies by even just having those grenades on you, and just throwing them at the right time will let you just drop any enemies in the area. The reason I say second chance is if you're going for an objective and you go down and another teammate is nearby, if you have the pro version, another teammate can actually revive you.
Just like World at War.
but you don't
Yeah.
need second chance anymore.
Yeah,
Like
that's the difference. But yeah, I actually, you know what? Coming from your point of view, because I don't think you have Turtle Beaches that you use for Call of Duty.
Nope.
Yeah, and so that's really interesting. And so I guess,
I barely play either.
yeah, you're always on bad company. But I guess as a person who wants, well, I mean, you can ask Invasion or anybody I play with. I go for the objective. That is my number one priority. But however, I don't rush blindly. I rush with a purpose and I use my brain to outsmart the enemy so I get the upper hand and usually works out. But coming from
and
my perspective, wait, what were you saying, Invasion?
and rushing blindly. That was something that Pierre told me not to do.
Invasion, I mean, oh my gosh. Of course, every person who starts out in Call of Duty is always so excited that they just want to run around and see what they can do. However, of course, that happened with Invasion, and so I explained to him that blindly rushing is not even helping your team out. It's just going to hurt your team. If you don't rush with a purpose, you're just going to get death after death after death, which gives the other team kill streaks and pretty much rapes your team. Now, rushing with a purpose, that's completely different, and that's something I also do. However, I don't rush with like lightweight marathon. I rush with like I'm think of me as like the heavy artillery. I'm constantly moving around and giving reliable backup to teammates, which I like to consider myself a reliable source. So perks that I'll definitely be using is either a toss-up between Scavenger and Ghost. I'm leaning towards Ghost a little bit more just because I hate to be noticed, and that's that's just my play style. I love to stay invisible and I like to sneak around the map while giving good cover fire for my teammates. However, Scavenger is also there because I really need to replenish my ammo because if I'm not going to be dying a lot, I'm going to need to get a lot of ammo. So my last resort, if I ever run out of gun juice, is I might have to switch out my weapon, which sucks because I usually run with a silenced weapon, as most of you guys know. For tier two, I am actually in a toss up between hardened, sleight of hand, and warlord. I'm most likely going to be using sleight of hand just because of the quicker aiming and fast reload, which I find essential. However, warlord gives you that extra attachment, like that bling attachment that you might need for, let's say, the FAL. Like I've been using in Modern Warfare 2. There's actually there's a version of the FAL in Black Ops called the FN FAL, which is pretty much sort of like the same thing, same iron sights as from what I've heard, and so I might be running Warlord with that. What were you saying?
Pure. The FAL is actually made by FN. It's a gun company. Just saying.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not really up to terms with all those gun technologies, but also hardened. Now, you guys might be wondering what hardened is. It is pretty much FMJ from Modern Warfare 2 and Deep Impact from Call of Duty 4. So the pro ability is pretty much what I'm leaning towards because not only are you able to do the stopping power pro from Modern Warfare 2 by adding or by doing more damage to kill streaks, you can also it reduces flinch when you're getting shot. So if you guys don't know what that is, let's say I'm shooting or no, Invasion's shooting me and I'm shooting him. However, if he shot me first before I was able to get a bullet on him, my gun is going to get a lot of messy recoil that bounces around every time a bullet hits me. That's called flinch. Now, with Hardened Pro, the Pro ability will reduce your flinch and will allow you to have a more steadier aim as if he's not really shooting you, even though he really is. And it sometimes can save you a death because it's actually happened to me a lot where I shoot or an enemy shoots me and I'm shooting him, but the flinch causes me to die and screws up my accuracy. So I might be running around with Hardened Pro. I'll play around with it a little bit, but that's probably I'm most likely going to be running Sleight of Hand. Now perk 3. This is where you're going to have to distinguish yourself. People running with Turtle Beach, for example, me, Ninja is a must. It is a must. I mean, unless you're not going to run with Turtle Beaches, you have to use Ninja. I mean, you don't have to, but I mean, that's highly recommended. However, for a person like Bates who doesn't run with Turtle Beaches, it really does spark interest in the other options that you have here. For example, Hacker. You can steal enemy camera spikes. You can change their claymores and turn it into yours, and you can do a lot of cool things with Hacker. Second Chance. It's from World at War, and I found it to be a little bit overpowered, so you won't see me using that too often. As you guys might know, I'm a scrub who doesn't like to use overpowered weapons and likes to use stuff that is just shows your pure skill. And Tactical Mask, which something, if you don't have Turtle Beaches, you should be running Tactical Mask. The pro ability is you can almost consider it like a wall hack. You just throw a stun or a flash and you can pretty much find where the enemy is. That's a
Yeah,
huge plus, and that I might see I kind of see that getting overpowered or overused or abused, but that's something to
possibly.
think about. Yeah.
Yeah, I like what they've done with that though, because that means like if there is a player, which there is lots, who doesn't have Turtle Beaches, there's an option for them too. It's not just the sound.
Sound whoring.
That's a swear word. That's the sound people's perks anymore. Right? It isn't just for the best of the best to be the best at Call of Duty. There is the mediocre of the best to be the best. Like there's a perk for everybody. Well,
Yeah.
there's three perks for everybody really. Um, but they've made it a lot harder to decide. I really like that because not only does it show that they've balanced it, but it shows that they want players to be confused over what to choose. They want players to sit there on the menu for 20 minutes or so and wonder, I don't know what's going to happen in the next game, but what am I going to do about it?
Yeah. And that's huge. Like think of it this way. Tactical Mask and Tactical Mask Pro is pretty much like Turtle Beaches for the people who can't afford it.